The only cover creation option that I haven't used myself so far is pre-made covers. And the only reason for that was that I've tended to write in trilogies so far. And with pre-made covers, people make them as standalone. So this is a brilliant option if you've got standalone book covers. And the only reason I haven't used them is because I'm writing in trilogies. I need all my books to look like they're part of a series, and you tend not to get that with pre-made covers. They tend to be just one-offs. So if you're looking for one-off covers in a variety of genres, pre-made covers are definitely something to look at. Let me just talk you through a couple of these sites. The key thing to know is that what you need to put into Google if you want these kind of covers is the word pre-made. Pre-made is what they're called, pre-made covers. If you put ready-made covers in, that will also do the job. But just put pre-made covers into a Google search and it will bring up all sorts of websites that you can use to do this. Now, what are pre-made covers? Pre-made covers are where designers just create generic books. So they make a nice cover with a decent image and they put just generic text in. And when you buy that book cover, obviously they'll put your book title in and your author name on it as well, and then also they will withdraw that cover for sale. Now this is the advantage of not using ready-made templates. When you use ready-made templates, then there's a good chance, or there's certainly some chance, that you might see the same cover elsewhere on Amazon. When you get pre-made covers, and you should always check this by the way, because not everybody necessarily does it, but what they will usually say is when you buy a cover, it won't then be made available to anybody else. So you get a unique cover, but it's not a bespoke cover. So it's cheaper than having a designer design one from scratch for you, and it's more unique than going for a template, which you may discover elsewhere. Now the prices are considerably cheaper than going bespoke, and there are many of these around. There are many people doing this, and I'll let you into a secret actually, that I actually often look at covers like this to get my creative juices flowing to write brand new books. So if I'm writing a new thriller, I'm just trying to get some ideas going around in my head, I will look at thriller covers on pre-made sites just to get into the zone and start thinking about possible plots and stories and things that might happen. So they're actually really good for inspiration, to be honest with you. The other thing they're really good for is if you are getting a designer to make covers for you, if you want to show them the sort of cover that you want, the sort of feel and look that you're after, then these can also be very good for that. You don't actually just have to buy them, use them just for inspiration a lot of the time too. Now, this is called the bookcoverdesigner.com. Let me go to some others where there's a little bit more choice. This is a very well known one, selfpubbookcovers.com. And you can see that you could, if you see here, instantly download your one-of-a-kind cover. This is what I was saying to you about once you buy your cover, you're not going to see it elsewhere. And the other thing about a site like this, which is possibly more developed than the first one we looked at, is you can go into non-fiction covers and see what's available here. And we can get westerns, thriller and mystery. I won't tempt fate by going for erotic, and young adult as well. Now, because different designers are placing these covers here on this site, some of them are going to be, frankly, very ropey. Others are going to be absolutely excellent. So there will be a bit of a mishmash. You know, some of them are just terrible, but some of them are actually really quite good. And the other thing is you can see these are $75. So if you were doing a fantasy book, for instance, about dragons, that's actually quite nice, that one. So if you go customize, that's $75 just there. We can then start to play around with this and putting our title on. So if I call it Dragon Fire, a classic book, and then we could, put by Paul Teague on here. And there's all sorts of options. We could choose the colour and the type of font and things like that. And then you could actually buy that cover. Now, I don't really like that because it's just a little bit too sort of cheap for my tastes. It's those fonts are not good. That's what worries me about this. The covers are good, but the fonts are not. So take great care when using these, because if you're not careful, you can end up with something that looks a little bit tacky if the fonts aren't quite right. Here's another one, the cover collection. Look at the prices on here. Got more genres. You get pre-made covers for £50. Then you can get print covers made, audiobook covers for extras. You see, there's all sorts of different packages. And really, you just have to go through there and choose which suits your pricing right and your requirements. If we go into thrillers again, let's see what kind of covers they've got on here. So again, these are really nice. You see, this is where I was thinking of getting them from. These are really nice covers, some of these. And if the cover happens to suit the story, or if you use my tip and you actually sometimes look at the covers first to get inspiration for the story, then it's actually a really good way of working. But some of these covers, you see, I'm quite happy with those, and they're very, very cheap, and they're very strong. That's a lovely cover. You know, these are great covers, and they're very cheap. So sometimes I think this is a really good option for you. It's very budget. You're getting the kind of quality that you would get from a bespoke design, paying £300 or £400 for it. You're getting that kind of quality and that kind of layout. But because this hasn't been done with loads of revisions and all the sort of toing and froing and nonsense that goes on when you have to work on a bespoke cover, they can obviously produce many more of these, and therefore they can run them cheaper. So it's a really good, I think, intermediate option between something like 99 Designs and paying somebody £300 or £400 to make a bespoke cover for you. And you can get quite a lot of price range here too. I think these are about £50 for a basic Kindle cover. There are obviously add-ons on this site, so you could quite easily go to £100, £125, but that's then taking you up to 99 Designs levels. I think these are probably, well, these are pretty good. These would compete very well with what you got on 99 Designs for fiction covers, but it's still a lot less than paying a designer to create a cover for you from scratch. So once again, it always boils down to what's your budget, what are your requirements, what's your book about, what's your genre, and does this suit you? But I think the main and important thing here in these videos is that you're aware of the choices and you can find a choice to suit any situation and any budget.